Hello.
Hi, Karen. How are you?
Good, Melissa. How are you?
Excellent. Good to see you.
Deb Pusateri from NICRA is here with us, and she's going to give us a little update on the state of the environment and what's going on in our business. So without further ado, Deb, why don't you take it away?
Absolutely. Can you guys hear me okay? I have a little background noise. Is it good? All right. So I know that I saw an email from somebody, from Karen last night, about
Okay.
Mayor Sheehan and the Albany Common Council. So I don't know if you've heard any more today. I'm just trying to turn this up. I don't think that that's a reality. You guys there?
We're all here. I just
Here we go.
muted everybody.
Here. Okay, I just lost it. Okay. So we had good news today. It's a good day. We, Judge Marks, you guys, first of all, I want to thank you for your donation to Under One Roof in NICRA. Thank you very much. Because we have been relentless and we have been pushing these judges and Governor Cuomo and the courts to open, and we're not taking no for an answer. I believe that all of our hard work is paid off. A couple weeks ago, Judge Marks put out a memo stating that the courts should reopen with, I think you guys all saw this, the letter that you all signed on to. He said that the court should open with an affidavit from either the attorney or the landlord saying that you knew that the tenant was not COVID affected, that you knew that when you were filing this, that the person was working, they had income, they weren't on unemployment, and that you had every right to file the notice of petition because they just weren't paying their rent. All the onus was on the landlord to prove and to swear that the tenant was having issues, which kind of doesn't make sense because it shouldn't be up to the landlord. But that's what Judge Marks said. So he put forth in his order the affidavit that we had to give to swear that we knew that the tenant was not COVID related. The notice had to be in Spanish and English and a couple other mumbo jumbos in there. One was the CARES Act. You folks are familiar with the CARES Act, that if you have a federally backed mortgage or you're receiving a voucher of some type. Terrence, that looks really good. What is that? I'm hungry.
This is from the Bronx. Kosher Deli is pastrami. I'm sorry, but I just got in. Thank you.
So anyway, the onus was on the landlord. So after we got that, maybe 3 weeks ago, we all filed eviction papers. And what did the courts do? The courts mailed them back to us because the only way you could file via Judge Marks was you had to mail in your notice of petition. You couldn't go to the court was closed for evictions. You had to mail this in with all these supporting documents, this affidavit, but at least it allowed us to do something. The other thing I want to say is that the New York City courts have been open for a few weeks now. I don't know if you were aware of that, but they are doing in-person, they're doing virtual, and they're doing mailings and conferences for their evictions. So we wanted to know, why was upstate left out? Why could New York City landlords start evictions and upstate could not? That's when we did the push. That's when Judge Marks gave his letter. So we all mailed in notices of petitions and the courts mailed them back and said, nope, we're not doing it. So we went back to Cuomo and said, this is BS. We have rights too. We're getting taken advantage of. Of course, we're working with the COVID related people. It's the non-COVID related people that this is not okay. So we pushed and pushed and pushed. You know, we got this up, it's him, it's her. You know, Cuomo was blaming the courts were blaming Cuomo. So then in the mix was also something called the Holyman Bill. You folks familiar with that? Okay. Holyman put out a bill, one of the legislators put out a bill proposing that he wanted to make it a law, saying that going forward, we could go to court. We could take eviction matters to court for non-payment, for holdovers, for breach of lease. However, we could only get a money judgment for COVID-related people. We could not get a lockout, but we could get a judgment on COVID-related people. Non-COVID-related people, we could get a judgment and a warrant. It also said that anything pre-COVID, we had a right to execute the warrants, get the people out, and get rid of them. Non-COVID had nothing to do with the protection under the Holyman bill, and that we should be allowed to proceed. So last Friday, the Holyman bill, and in the original Holyman bill, the other thing that he wanted to do was extend this protection for 6 months after everything opened up. So he also said that while all the phases were not fully open and all the businesses weren't fully open, that these protections would stay in place for COVID-related people. But his bill also said it wasn't up to the landlord to prove it. It was up to the tenant to prove it. They were going to take pre-COVID income. And Karen, I can actually send you the language in the Holyman bill so you can distribute it. But the tenant had to show in court pre-COVID income and then show post-COVID income and prove to the judge that they truly were having a financial hardship due to COVID. Now, we all know they're getting unemployment. We all know they're getting the extra $600 a week. We all know they got the stimulus check, so we know they're getting money. Most of my low-income tenants are getting more money now than they were, and they're not going back to work. But at least the Holyman bill said we can get them in court. They have to prove, not the landlord, the tenant's got to prove it to the judge. So that was great. The thing we didn't like was the fact that we couldn't lock them out. However, if they're truly COVID affected, we don't want to do that. We want to work with anybody who truly is having a problem. The other good thing about the Holyman bill is now it's bringing to light, it's filtering down those tenants that really need financial help. New York State does have some resources for landlords to help the challenged tenant. So we kept pushing Governor Cuomo and saying, if you don't open these courts, if you don't get these tenants who really need help into the light of day and acknowledge they need help and give them some of this money you're holding on to, in 6 months, they're going to be homeless. And that's not what anybody wants. So the Holyman bill, after talking to Cuomo, he signed the Holyman bill after removing, another win for us, the 6 months after phase 4 was open and all businesses were open. Holyman wanted to keep this going for 6 months. We said, no, why? Not right, not okay. Once everything's open, let's go. Let's get these tenants in court that have to prove they need help, because let's face it, March, April, May, June, July, August, by the time we get into court, it's probably going to be August. 6 months, if they don't have unemployment, why not? We know they should have gotten it. If they're not back to work, why not? That means they're either an illegal immigrant who don't qualify, or they're working under the table. Not sure what to do with those people. But again, Cuomo has stated there's money available to help those people. So that's a good thing. So last Friday, the Holyman bill was passed so that we could start again filing the notices of petition for those courts that were saying, we don't care that the moratorium's been lifted, we're not accepting anything. So on Monday, we filed more evictions and we went to the sheriff with lockouts. And guess what happened? They sent them back. And we're like, wait a minute. How can you, this is a law now. This is a New York State law. This is not okay. So we got on the phone with the lobbyists and we kept screaming. And we started talking to the judges. So Judge Marks, who wrote the letter, said, I don't know why you have an issue, because I told the courts what to do. Well, the courts were claiming it wasn't clear enough. And again, a lot of the liberal courts, like Albany, who just don't want to open. They don't. They're dragging their feet. Word on the street is they just don't want to do anything till August, end of August. So we then went back to Cuomo. And yesterday, when we went back to Judge Marks and another judge who was working with Judge Marks and said, you people have to do something, because we, the landlords, we're done. We're not going to take this anymore. It's a taking. People are stealing money from us. You have tax payments that you want us to pay very soon. You're not going to get them if we don't get our rent. We need our rights back. So yesterday, Judge Marks came out with another order, clarifying his original order, clarifying the Holyman bill, telling every single court and making it clear that every single court had to follow his new directive and they had to follow the Holyman bill. That was a huge win for us, huge. So the courts have acknowledged that effective August 5th, they're going to start actually calendaring the new notices of petition. That means you're going to get a calendar date, August 5th or later. Now understand, there is a backlog. I know Albany City Court hasn't started to calendar the original dates. When COVID hit and the court shut down, I had a court case on for that Tuesday. They adjourned it indefinitely. So every old court date that was on the court calendar is going to be able to be calendared first, which they're doing now. And then the new cases, we should be getting a court date after August 5th. So anything you have to serve, get out there and serve. Your 14-day notices, get them served. Make sure that you serve the 5-day notice with it. Make sure you certify mail the 5-day notice. If you say, I served the 14 and I served the 5-day, they're going to throw it out. You need to serve the 14-day notice. You need to certify mail the 5-day. And then I'm going to forward Karen the new notice of petition that Judge Marks said. Now, when Judge Marks pulled out of the order that the landlord has to do any affidavit, we do not have to swear that we know the tenant's COVID affected or not, which is another win for us. All we have to do is present the case. We have to serve them the 5-day, the 14-day. Then we have to prepare the new court document, which again, I'm going to give to Karen, which you do have to swear that you are not part of the CARES Act. So again, if you have a federally backed mortgage or you are receiving subsidy, Section 8, I have to clarify about Department of Social Service. I don't think that is a federally backed subsidy. I think that's a state. I don't think that matters, but I'll clarify DSS. But if you're getting Section 8 for somebody and they haven't paid their part, you have to wait until the CARES Act expires, which is in August, or at the end of July, I think. I'll get that date for you too, because they're just changing so much. So right now, all you need to know is get your 5-day certified, get your 14-day served. 3 attempts, get them done. So that 14 days goes by, you're gonna then take the notice of petition that I'm gonna get to Karen that swears that you are not precluded from filing because the CARES Act restrictions, and then it's gonna have the notice to the tenant in Spanish. You have to give them that. You're going to then prepare your documents and mail them to the court that you are using. So find out the mailing address for your court. We're gonna get you the package of all your documents and you're gonna mail that sucker in on day 15 when you expire with your 14-day notice. Because you know that you can't file for eviction until your 14 days is up, right? Because of the HSTPA. Okay. If you get a pushback from a court, we need to know that, because we do anticipate some of the liberal judges and courts may still say, we're not doing it. But now we have Judge Marks that's going to force them to do it. That is a huge win, you guys. We are able to move forward. And Governor Cuomo is like, whatever they said. So he's on board. So we are good. Now, the second hurdle we have is the Sheriff's Department. The order that Judge Marks put out yesterday did not clarify what to do about the lockouts that we already had scheduled, or the notice, the warrant for immediate eviction, or the warrant for eviction pending payment arrangements. The sheriff has been pushing back, saying he doesn't want to do anything, but we're trying to force now the sheriff. Now we have the courts to open. We're now trying to force the sheriff to execute those warrants. We're working with the sheriff's department, the attorneys for the sheriff, and Judge Marks to clarify that. We're hoping by the middle of next week or end of next week that we're going to have something there. We're hoping. It looks like we're going to be good to go, but I have a feeling what's going to happen is they're going to reserve. I don't know if any of you had a lockout scheduled, but chances are they're going to take that lockout, reserve that 14-day notice to the tenant to say we're locking you out in 14 days. But you know what? It's okay. The door is opening and we're getting there. So we're working on clarification for that. I'll let you know what happens when we get clarification from the governor, the sheriff's lawyers, and Judge Marks. So huge win for landlords today, people. Huge, huge, huge win. I also want to address the Albany Common Council, the email that went around. If you look at the language in what was put on, now, was it truly on the United Tenants Facebook page? It was. And did the Common Council really vote and pass that? Because I looked, I can't hear you, Karen. You're muted.
Yeah, I know. Deb, it came from Tom Vandor. I don't know where he got it. He's in Buffalo. He's not on tonight. I don't know. I can't speak to it. I'd have to double check with Tom.
Okay, because I searched the Common Council videos, their website, their Facebook page. They even had live information and live videos from an hour prior to that, but it was only on the police. It had nothing to do with trying to extend the eviction moratorium. We did talk to our lobbyists about that and a few other lawyers. The good news about that is, if you look at exactly what they're asking for, and you look at the Holyman bill, they're in conflict. And we do not believe, per our lawyers, that Kathy Sheehan has any power to override.
Oh, you're freezing.
A law that's, so if she, what's that? Can you guys hear me? We're good?
You froze for a minute. You froze for a minute.
Okay, am I good now?
Yes.
Okay, so if Kathy Sheehan tries to, if something exists and she tries to sign it, we're gonna slap her with an injunction because it looks like she'd be going against the law that was just passed. It wouldn't be that she was trying to make it stricter. It's that there would be a headbutting between what the Common Council supposedly voted to do and what the law says, and that I believe is illegal and she can't do it. So don't fret about that right now.
Thank you.
Get your 14 days going. Get your 5 days certified. Keep a record of everything.
You're in the zone. You froze again.
Get your process servers on board. I'm documenting. Okay now? Am I good?
Now you are.
Okay. The other thing I want to say is that we have, Jamie has on the Under One Roof website, the roundtable, we have a tool that you can take your property address and plug it in to ensure that you are not involved in a federally backed mortgage. So you're not violating the CARES Act. And I know that you might say, well, I don't have a Fannie Mae or Freddie or Fannie, but behind the scenes, it's our understanding that some of the conventional mortgages somehow sold part or got intertwined with Fannie or Freddie. We don't want to be caught in court violating the CARES Act. So I'll get you that link too. All you have to do is plug in your property address if you have a mortgage on a property, and it will tell you if that mortgage has anything to do with a federally backed mortgage.
Oh, that's
so that you
awesome.
can sign, Yep, so you can sign your affidavit and say, nope, nope, don't have that. So it's a good day, landlords. Yay, we're moving forward. Thank you, Jesus. I have people that haven't paid me since November of last year. I'm having a party, yeah. So, any questions?
Do we want to open up to questions? And you have your chat feature also, guys, that you can click on. My first question, I'm just going to put it up there, Deb, it's how are we going to keep up?
You're muted. You just muted, Karen.
How do we keep up with the progress? Because everything's moving really fast.
Right, well, you should all be tuning in every day at 2 o'clock
Okay.
to the round table. Round table.
Speak to that one more time for people who may not be familiar with it.
Absolutely.
Oops.
If I get your email, we will email you a link every day to that roundtable. Jamie and I, Jamie Kane is a real estate attorney, and she's my coalition leader for Under One Roof. We're working every day with those lots to make sure we're on top of everything moving and changing. Every single day we update you from 2 to 3 or 2 to 3:30 with what has happened, what has changed. She also she's creating all the documents for you guys for free. So again, thank you for your donation. And she'll go over everything and how you fill it out and what you have to do. So if I don't have your email, matter of fact, I can put my email in the chat. Please take my email and email me if you do not have my email. And if you're not getting the roundtable emails. And you should all be a part of Under One Roof.
Yes.
Deb, would it be okay?
Deb, for those that joined a little late,
Yeah.
Nick and Deb, what we wanted to stress is that cdarpo has supported Under One Roof and we have donated to the cause. So please make sure you do log in and listen to what's going on that 2 o'clock or 1 o'clock call that Jamie's on. And there's a lot of resources on that web link.
Yes, there are. Deb, would it be okay if cdarpo sent your email out to the members for this purpose? Or,
Absolutely. I'm here as a resource. Yeah.
Or Lisa Baumgartner, would you prefer that and to have her add
If you
them
want you can send it to Lisa or me or both of us. You have Lisa's email?
Yeah.
Okay. Absolutely. At any question, take my email, share it. I mean, cdarpo and NICRA, we're working together. We all have a common goal, you guys. We're in this business together and we're fighting this fight together. Oh, the other thing I wanted to let you know is that our fabulous New York State lawmakers are getting back in session to see what more damage they can do. And that's going to be happening in a few weeks. From what we're hearing, good cause, we crushed it in the spring. We don't think it's going anywhere, but the tenant unions are panicking because they wanted free rent. So they were hoping everything would get canceled. Didn't happen. They wanted the eviction moratorium extended. It didn't happen. So now they're talking about good cause, but I don't think Governor Cuomo, he said no before. I think we're good on that, but we're still pushing against that. So if we hear anything about any other ugly legislation, we'll let you know. But I think the one thing we have going for us is how professional, non-violent, non-confrontational, and how classy every single landlord in cdarpo, NICRA, Under One Roof held it together while we were abused, had our rights stripped, had our tenants take advantage, and we supported these people. I just want to say that I'm proud of every landlord that I've ever dealt with during this pandemic because we didn't kick, scream, swear, threaten people and behave badly. So because of that image, and because we held it together, I think that we're going to be okay during the session. We've gained a lot of respect from a lot of lawmakers. We've gained respect from Governor Cuomo. And the other cool thing is that greedy landlord stereotype. I think that they're starting to look at us differently, which is one of the under one roof goals, so that we're not getting crapped on all the time. So it's a good thing. It's a good day.
Yay. So one of the questions that came in from George is, will we be able to share some of the points that you made on the presentation? And Melissa, in the chat box, just for everybody who's not familiar with using it, did indicate that the session will be recorded. And I'm not sure where we can post that, Melissa.
We could put it up on your new website blog.
There we go, guys. How do you feel about that? Whoop, whoop.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
So,
Karen, I
yeah.
will forward you the new order from Judge Mark so you guys can read it for yourselves.
that's
I will
great.
forward you the Holyman bill so you can read what's in it and know it and understand it. Knowledge is power. And you can post both of those also.
Yes.
And again, I want to say how critical it is. We're dealing with city courts, town courts, village courts. We need to know if a court pushes back and said, nope, because we're going to be on that court like flies on fecal matter, and we're going to force them to open because they have to.
Deb, how, if any of our landlords encounter pushback from the court, should we communicate with you? Should we do it in the Under One Roof forum?
Email me and Jamie. If you don't have Jamie, just email me. And any correspondence you get from the court, scan it in, because we need to know exactly what they said. We need to know who it came from. Whatever they give to you, we need that so we can address it. Because it's going to happen. I mean, I don't want to make you think that it's all roses and perfect from here. We're still going to be fighting the pushback, but at least we have now the governor on board, the judges on board, and a lot of the main courts on board, knowing that they're not going to get away with not taking our petitions.
Great. One other question came in from Alicia and Doug. Is Judge Marks in the Albany court system, or what system does Judge Mark sit on?
Judge Marks is in charge of the entire New York State court system.
Oh, wow.
That's why when we got the order from Judge Marks last week, telling the courts they had to accept our petitions, and the courts were like, no. We're like, well, wait a minute. He's their boss. But it's a political game. So.
Any other questions from any of the members? Oh, one more. Albany City Court still not accepting petitions.
Is that a question or an answer?
I don't know. It says it's from me. That's odd because that wasn't me typing.
Well, you know what, Karen? You've got somebody else signed on as you. Like, if I look at the Zoom, you're down with no picture. Do you have another?
I don't know who that is. No, somebody probably used my link and signed in on it, but I don't know who it is. So who just asked that, typed in that question? Can you let me know who you are?
Hello. Well, regarding Albany City Court, they are challenging. You have to mail it in. So the order from Judge Marks came out yesterday. So what you're going to do is you're going to take the new notice of petition and petition that Judge Marks says we have to follow. Jamie has put it together. I'm going to get it to Karen. You're going to redo your notice of petition. You're going to make sure that 14-day notice was served. You're going to make sure that you've certified mailed your 5-day. You're going to complete the new notice of petition and petition. You're going to include your 5-day. You're going to include your 14-day. You're going to include your affidavit for your 14-day. And if you want, you can include a little cover letter and the actual, this is something we talked about today, the actual, here comes my little boy Jack. So if he hangs up on me, I'll let you know. you can include Judge Marks's order, and you can say, per Judge Marks's order, dated June 8th, 2020, I am filing this notice of petition. So you can even include a copy of that if you want to. And you have to mail it in. They're not accepting anything other than a mail-in.
And to go on the website and check if your mortgage is a Fannie or Freddie backed mortgage also under the Under One Roof or the NICO website, correct?
Correct. You have to make sure that you are restricted from filing because of the CARES Act. The
Okay.
two things with the CARES Act is, the CARES Act, which is federal now, if you have a federally backed mortgage, you cannot file. July 27th is coming to mind, but they keep changing the date. So your federally backed mortgage, you cannot file. If you are receiving, I think I froze again. Did I just freeze? Okay. Two things. Federally backed mortgage, you cannot file. If you are receiving a federal subsidy for that tenant, Section 8, there's a couple different ones. If you're not clear what they are, we can probably get you a list. And all these resources are on the real estate roundtable that Jamie's been doing. So if you get on Under One Roof, we can give you the link for the roundtable, and you can go out there and you can look up all the documents, all the resources Jamie has done. You can even review our real estate roundtable sessions and listen to them.
Awesome. Great. All right. Do we have any other questions for Deb? I don't see anything coming in.
Yeah, but there's my email. Anything, any questions? If you're stuck, if you're not sure, shoot me an email. I will, if I can't answer it, I'll copy Jamie on it and we'll get you an answer. Aren't you guys happy?
I see some not.
Really?
Yay!
Yeah, Deb, you and Jamie have been doing a fabulous job of representing the landlords.
Thank you very much.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I gotta say, this pandemic, as terrible as it is, I think it's a blessing in disguise for one of the missions that we have is for Under One Roof, is to change the stereotype from the gritty landlord to the business partner that wants to work with good tenants. And I really think that we are being heard. They know who we are. We're gaining respect. And I think we're going to be okay at the end of the day with this, you guys.
Great news.
Yeah.
Great job. Great job,
Thank
guys.
you.
Thank you, Deb.
You're welcome.
Thank
Feel free to
you.
email me anytime. Have a great night, you guys.
Thank you,
Thank
Thank you
Deb.
too, Deb.
Thank you for coming.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye. Nick, you want to take it?
Yeah. So, okay. I think we got a lot of great information there. It's good to hear that we're finally making some progress. I also want to just make a couple quick announcements before we wrap up. A few things. Number one, we are making a lot of good progress on getting our website launched. We're hoping that by next week, the new website is live. Fingers crossed. I think that's very plausible. We just need to approve a few things. So good. I see Melissa giving me a thumbs up, so I think that I'm not speaking out of turn here. So stay tuned for that. We're going to be moving some things around. There will be a lot of changes going forward, but we'll be able to communicate with all of our members a lot more efficiently and directly. So that'll be a welcome improvement. Eventually, we will start to shift away from Yahoo groups. We're also going to be shifting away from the distribution list the way that we currently do it now. So we're going to be doing it, again, more directly, straight from our database. So again, stay tuned. A lot of good changes, a lot of things moving in the right direction here. So I know that typically for our regular meetings, what we would do is after some announcements, we would generally do some problem solving. So we have a relatively small group here. One other announcement that I have, and this might be a bit of a surprise for the board, but I just got this communication here as well. We have gotten notice from the hotel that we can resume our meetings unless things change in September. However, current guidelines are that we would be at 50% capacity. So we could only accept 15 members. Interestingly enough, this format right now, we currently have about 15 people on the call. So if we get some steam running behind us and we start doing this more efficiently in the future, well, then we're going to want to have more than 15 participants in our meetings. The only other solution that I could think of is allow a select few for whoever registers first. Maybe we could have them come in person, and maybe we could do these as a live broadcast. That's the only other thing that I was thinking. So we'd have a live component and couple that with a virtual component as well. That might also be nice for, sorry, go ahead, Melissa.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but you guys can actually live stream these to your Facebook page or to a YouTube channel. So should you decide to kind of do some type of a mix of live and recording, there's a number of different ways that you can go about it. Sorry.
We actually talked about doing that in the past, just as a feature to be able to allow for people to participate virtually. So we may go in that direction, but it's good to know that we have a technology partner behind us that can help us get there. So, problem solving. Does anybody have anything that they want to bring up to the group while we're all here? Any things that you're having issues with, whether it's COVID related or not? Feel free to speak up.
Nick.
Yes.
Yeah, Nick, this is Terrence. I just wanted to find out whether or not first thing, how are you? I hope you're doing well, you and the family. And I'm glad that we have our little online meeting here. I've been doing the under one roofs pretty as frequently as possible. So I'm probably there about 3 days a week for their 2 o'clock forum. And it's very, very informative. It keeps you at the cutting edge. I just wanted to ask you about the component that we had on the old website, which was the tenant directory. I am hoping that that's something that will carry over into the new website, because tenant selection is absolutely key and critical now, because you can't get them out, you know?
So so when we originally launched that, I know that John had quite a few concerns about potential liability for having such a list. Those concerns were very valid, because with the new rules, we could get in quite a bit of trouble for just maintaining that list.
Yep.
So we shut it down after the new laws were passed. We actually blocked that part of the old website. At least I think we did. And we are going to be discontinuing it going forward. It really puts the organization at too much risk by simply, the tenants aren't necessarily consenting to us putting their information out there. And it just gives the appearance of, I mean, who are you going to put on there? Chances are people aren't going to put their best tenants. I know the theory behind it was that we would put all of our tenants on there so that anybody could call any of us. But yeah, unfortunately, that's kind of a long-winded way of saying we're going to be discontinuing that practice.
Okay.
Anybody have anything else? Okay. Well, unless there's anything else that we want to cover.
One
Karen,
other
go ahead.
thing. Yeah, I did want to speak to the sponsorship part of, if anybody has services or we are working on developing our sponsorship base. And we'll be adding that to our website under a professional, I think it is, what is it, Melissa? Professional.
Right now, it's like just member professionals or professional services.
Right.
Yeah.
So if anybody does have any professional services that they do want to advertise, please reach out to myself or Nick, whatever it is that you have or want to do, and I'll shoot you out the cost for the sponsorship page on the website and in our print newsletter. Thank you.
Okay. Well, obviously a short meeting. We're doing things a little bit differently these days, but we're keeping it short. At least we didn't have to drive here, right? So thank you everybody for joining the call. Melissa, thank you very much for hosting it. Karen, you're pointing at me.
September, no meeting September. I mean, August. We're back on board in September.
Back on board in September. The board will work out, we're all going to work out how we're going to do that. I like the idea of a, quasi live session and then doing the virtual in addition to that. So whether we're going to stream it on Facebook or YouTube, I think either of those options are attractive. So I think that we will move forward with something like that, and we'll work it out at our next board meeting, and we'll make sure to let everybody know. Also, keep an eye out for announcements about the website, and we'll get that live as soon as we can. So thank you, everybody. If there's nothing else, we'll adjourn the meeting.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nick.
Thanks, Bill.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Nice to
Bye,
see
Bill.
everybody.
Take care.
Take care. Have a
Thank
great
you,
night.
everybody.
Everybody stay safe.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Melissa. Bye.
Bye.